On June 19, 2025, the Middle East's shadow war erupted into open conflict. Iranian ballistic missiles streaked across the night sky, targeting Israel directly from Iranian soil. Air raid sirens blared as families rushed to shelters, the normal rhythm of life shattered by explosions. Israel's Iron Dome and other defenses intercepted many missiles, but some broke through, causing unprecedented destruction. Residential buildings collapsed, glass rained down in city streets, and panic swept the nation. This was no proxy attack. This was Iran's direct assault, a chilling escalation. Military and civilian sites were hit, chaos and fear spreading with every impact. Emergency services raced through debris-filled streets while social media lit up with images of fire and devastation. The Israeli government warned citizens to stay sheltered, signaling the attack might not be over. The rules of engagement had been shattered. The long, undeclared war had exploded into the open. The region now faced a new, dangerous chapter, one written in fire and fear. The world watched as the Middle East crossed a line that had held for decades. The question on everyone's mind, was this the start of all-out war? In Be'er Sheva, a missile struck Soroka Hospital, turning a place of healing into a disaster zone. The blast collapsed a main wing, plunging the hospital into darkness and chaos. Doctors and nurses worked by cell phone light, manually ventilating patients as alarms blared and dust filled the air. Emergency responders navigated rubble, searching for survivors and helping evacuate the wounded. The Israeli health minister condemned the strike as a war crime. Iran claimed a military base was the target, but civilians paid the price. Police warned of hazardous leaks, while field hospitals sprang up in parking lots to treat the injured. The attack on Soroka was a psychological blow, targeting the vulnerable and terrorizing a nation. Through the night, rescue teams pulled survivors from the wreckage, facing impossible choices. Dozens were injured, many unaccounted for, as the hospital's staff fought to save lives in the very place meant to protect them. The strike marked a new low in the conflict, shattering any sense of sanctuary. The war had come to the heart of civilian life. This escalation is the result of years of rising tensions between Iran and Israel, fueled by Iran's nuclear ambitions and failed diplomacy. Israel, alarmed by Iran's uranium enrichment and missile advances, has long viewed Tehran as an existential threat. With nuclear talks collapsed, both sides felt emboldened. Israel blamed for covert attacks, Iran for proxy strikes. But this time, Iran launched missiles directly from its own soil, abandoning plausible deniability. Tehran's message: it's ready for direct confrontation. The attack followed an Israeli strike on Iran's Arak reactor, pushing both nations to the brink. Israel's prime minister called it an act of war, promising swift retaliation as the military mobilized reserves. Iran's supreme leader warned of devastating counterattacks if Iran was hit again. The region now teeters on the edge, with both sides locked in a cycle of escalation. The shadow war is over. Open conflict has begun. The Iranian missile strike sent shockwaves worldwide. In Washington, President Trump condemned the attack but urged restraint, even as his administration weighed military options. The U.S. put forces on high alert, while the UN called for emergency talks and global leaders pleaded for de-escalation. Diplomatic calls for calm struggled to be heard over the drums of war. Regional powers were forced to choose sides. Saudi Arabia quietly backed Israel's right to defend itself, while Iran's allies praised the attack. The Middle East fractured further, each side bracing for what might come next. The risk of a wider war loomed large, with the U.S. facing a critical choice: join the fight or seek a diplomatic off-ramp. The world watched, holding its breath as decisions in Washington and Jerusalem could determine the region's fate. The stakes had never been higher. Beneath the headlines, ordinary people bear the brunt of this crisis. Israeli cities are silent, schools closed, families huddled in shelters as the threat of more attacks looms, hospitals are overwhelmed, humanitarian groups plead for supplies, and the psychological toll is immense. Children try to sleep through distant explosions. Parents anxiously await news of loved ones. The fear is palpable. A generation growing up under constant threat. Israel vows to respond, Iran threatens retaliation, and the cycle of violence threatens to engulf the region. The old rules of proxy warfare are gone. Direct conflict is the new reality. The consequences will ripple far beyond the Middle East, affecting global security and millions of lives. As dawn breaks, the region stands at a crossroads, the path to peace more uncertain than ever. The future is clouded by the smoke of a new and dangerous war.